moving through that kind of terrain, what people are looking for a lot of times is like this absolute presence. And something that will not allow them to be anywhere else but right there. This is a race that's not on the trail, it's in the mountains.
Trofeo Chima è una grande corsa sul sentiero Roma che praticamente copre tutta la testata della Valmasino. Nasce in memoria di mio fratello, era una guida alpina e soccorritore che è mancato durante un intervento di soccorso. Era un suo progetto far conoscere l'Alta Via della Valmasino. Chima era il suo soprannome e da qui è nato il Trofeo Chima, la gara. Nasce nel 95, perciò torniamo indietro di 28 anni fa. E da una cosa triste è diventato un sogno di tantissimi atleti poter fare il Chima, una gara molto tecnica, particolare, unica nel suo genere. Lui credeva in una valle che poteva essere la valle ideale e che doveva essere la Valmasino questa valle ideale.
I think that a lot of people are like motivated by different things. Some people sort of are going to choose their race based on where the highest level of competition is going to be or where it'll be the most mediatized covering the race. And then some people are going to be motivated by the race course itself. Maybe it's a historic nature of the course, or maybe it is like, the actual terrain that you're covering. Anyone who knows Chima reveres it and is just like blown away by it, but the vast majority of people will have never heard of it. Why do you do it? Like, you don't do it because you love running. You do it because you love moving through technical terrain. It draws big names because it's like a pilgrimage to this event that is so incredible. As soon as I heard about Chima, I wanted to come do it. And in 2018, I was able to put it on my calendar. And in that race, I pushed super hard. Then blew up in the middle and had a complete panic. I could sort of turn around and I could see the girls coming behind me. On the last pass of that race, Robin from South Africa caught up to me. We did some of the descent together, and then she took off so fast in the descent. And I was really apprehensive because I knew that there's a 3K of total flat on a bike path at the bottom, and I was afraid to blow up there. So I let her go. I'm not going to win this race. And then ended up passing her again on the flat because she blew up and did exactly what I had hoped not to do. I was only 1 minute and 8 seconds from Nuria Pica's record, which she set in 2012. Trofeo Chima is kind of particular in that it only happens every 2 years. And so after the race in 2018, 2020 came and there was no race, but I wanted to maintain a connection with the valley. Marco De Gasperi told me that he wanted to try to set a new record on the Sentiero Roma and asked me if I wanted to try to set a women's record on it. Sentiero Roma, it's in the opposite direction of Chima. It shares about 30K in the middle and goes over an additional mountain path. when you're trying to be the first and establish the first record, the goal is kind of to put it out there and set a reference time and hopefully inspire other, in this case, women to try the same course. I think that somebody could definitely go back and beat that time, shave an hour off it for sure. As soon as the date was announced, marked it on the calendar and said, I want to be there. So I kind of set it up as like my big objective of 2022. Because you have to have like this level of attention on really the ground in front of you during the race, you don't actually get to look up and appreciate the views as much as I might like. And so back in July, we decided to come and do the course in 3 days. Taking notes, writing down trying to break it up into pieces that I could remember, and also just take the time to sit. There's these 7 mountain passes that you go over, and every single one of them is steep enough that it's been equipped with chains. And you look at this steep face and you're like, absolutely no way is there a trail that goes up that. On the surface, you'd say impossible, and then you get to push the line of what is possible.
Equilibrio, forza, ma soprattutto saper gestire bene le forze, come ha detto prima lei, perché è veramente lunga, tecnica e bella, veramente bella, tutta in quota poi. Arriverà al momento giusto.
Coming to a race to defend a title, it's really hard a lot of times to separate the pressure and your emotions about a race and a place with a performance. I remember from when I ran Tromsø in 2018 and I won the race and set a record there, and then I returned in 2019 and I placed 3rd and was slower than I had been the year before, and it kind of changed the way I felt about the race and about the experience, and I was scared that was going to happen with Kima, and I just have this love of this place, and I was like, why am I doing this? I am running a big risk of changing how I feel about this race. I'm definitely a believer in the fact that when you go into any kind of race objective, divorce the ideas of success and winning, that's not necessarily the same thing. So for me, I had thought about, going into this day, okay, what would I be happy with? And definitely had this high objective that I wanted to better my time, and I wanted to try to beat Nuria's record. Going into that, I definitely thought a little bit about what were the different areas that I could improve on. And because I knew that I blew up in the middle of the race, it was going to have to be sort of on the second half where I could probably improve. You know, there are a couple of things that are important to keep in mind. One is knowing when to run and when to hike. The fast hike in that kind of terrain, because a lot of times you lose energy trying to run in the blocks, and choosing where you want to go because there isn't a set trail in front of you. And so that's something that I think all of us can do for a short period of time, but something that's really exhausting to do for hours and hours. It's just like granite blocks, and you're just jumping from rock to rock to rock. In 2018, I was desperate. Like, the race owned me, and I was just like along for the ride and hanging on for dear life. This time, I knew what was coming. I knew what to expect. I could sort of visualize different parts of the race. And I knew that the time difference between my 2018 time and the time I was shooting for was like entirely in my control. This is me against me. When I came into Giannetti and I saw Franco Colli and I asked him if he had any idea of the splits, and he said, "I'm pretty sure you've got a big margin, at least 10 minutes. So when I was relatively sure that nobody was like breathing down my neck, am I gonna be able to push myself really hard without it being a competition against somebody else?" If nobody is coming for you and all you have is a time that you're aiming for, like, will I be able to push myself as hard as I need to get there? Or am I just gonna go like, this is really painful and it could be a little less painful if I push less hard? It hurts so much. This place has given me a lot, and so like it was kind of my turn to give everything that I had. Kima is a race that immediately get the sense when you come here, this sense of like community and everyone working together. Is niche. It's never going to be a huge event. Will remain this sort of small, really tough, community-driven race that you have to seek out. It's not going to come to you.
Allora, ma io sono così, Kima, la gara.